Kelly McCormack, actress and screenwriter and filmmaker, producer, person. I was born and raised in Vancouver. I've been working in New York for the past 4 years, and I go back and forth between here and New York. And I just wrote and produced my first feature film called Play, which is debuting in New York in 2 weeks. The film is a bunch of actors. They're not booking work. They decide to fix that problem by doing a very serious play about very serious issues to showcase their abilities. So they're going to do a serious play about the Bernie Madoff and the Occupy movement and the Arab Spring Revolution. And it's opening night of that play, and in the first scene a gun gets misplaced and a very important character doesn't get shot in the first 5 minutes of the play. So the actors are left rewriting the script on stage, and all the insecurities they were trying to fix with this play are now showing now more than ever, and in the style of Arrested Development, Curb Your Enthusiasm, Slings and Arrows, they end up making the most offensive piece of theater ever to debut in front of a live theater audience. And it's very offensive in all the right ways, and it's very funny and sweaty. And I think the way in which I wrote it, like kind of cabin fever of which I wrote that film for 15 hours a day for 2 weeks, certainly plays into the ridiculousness of the film. Play, one of the most unique creative experiences of my life. Alright, so last summer Ingrid Vettinger, celebrated Canadian micro-budget filmmaker, I'll plug her film, The Animal Project, debuting in like a couple days at TIFF. She was challenging up-and-coming filmmakers in Toronto to produce a feature film for $1,000. And a bunch of people submitted films. I submitted a film I wrote over June, and when we were going to go ahead and shoot it no matter what, and then my creative team fell through. So I originally was going to act in it with Kristian Bruun, who's on Orphan Black. He's an incredibly interesting and hilarious and fantastic creative force, and I called up Kristian and I'm like, Kristian, I still want to make a film, like let's write a new one and get a new crew and find some new people, and he's like, you're insane. So I thought, okay. And then I called up my friend Danny Paget and I said, Danny, who would you not make a film without? And he said, my friend Alec Toller. So I called up Alec, and he didn't know who I was. And I said, Alec, who would you not make a film without? And he said, Rob Wiggin. I called Rob. He recommended his girlfriend. And then Tim Walker got involved, and Roger Bainbridge and Colin Munch, and this kind of first, you know, like your partner in crime's ability to create a larger crew of cast and crew. So everyone had their first mate kind of involved. That's a weird Sailor reference. Anyway. We assembled this crew, and we didn't have an idea or a script or anything, but it appeared that I had assembled a lot of comedy folks in the city, people who are really well known in improv and in the comedy scene, lots of Canadian comedy nominated and award-winning actors. And so I went away and I wrote a feature film in 2 weeks, a comedy, for knowing which actors I was writing for. We wrote it in 2 weeks. I finished it 5 a.m. the morning of our first day of shooting. We shot it in 2 weeks, and we produced it for $1,000, and the rest in kind, borrowed, scraped, flirted for. That was my doing. And I did a lot of hair flipping, a lot of like, hi, can I borrow your day-old goods from this bakery? It was, anyway. So yeah, we produced it for $1,000, and we had 15 cast, 15 crew, and now it's blowing up and getting in all these festivals, and it's bananas. Very exciting news. I just got off the phone with the director of the Williamsburg International Film Festival, which is one of the United States' most revered and fun film and music festivals in the US. We are the opening night feature for the whole festival. So people are going down the red carpet and then going into our film. And I just got off the phone with the director of the festival, and he was saying how happy he was to have a comedy about theater in a theater city. So that happens on the 19th. The following day we're in New York again at the Bootleg Film Festival, so another festival the next day in New York. The following day I fly to Los Angeles for the Broad Humor Film Festival, so that's 3 festivals, 3 days, 2 of the largest industry cities in the world. And then in October we go to London for the London International Film Festival, where our film is nominated for Best Feature Film and Best Original Screenplay. Don't know how this happened. This is bananas. And then we fly back to New York for our third festival in New York for the New York Indie Film Festival. And then from there, I don't know, you kind of find out about festivals in like large chunks. I don't know. It's completely bananas, but we're trying to get as many of the cast and crew to go to all the festivals because they're all fantastic and funny and stupid and hilarious. So they're not stupid. They're just funny stupid. Well, I started performing on stage and singing and acting on stage when I was 7. I was in my first show when I was 7 years old, and since then I haven't stopped. I trained simultaneously in like studio, film and television acting as well as stage acting. I went to school in New York, performed on stage off-Broadway. I'm part of the Flea Theater Company, which is a company in New York that Sigourney Weaver and Jim Simpson are artistic director, and they develop new works. Theater for me has just always been my first love. It was where I learned how to perform, where I learned all my instincts as an actor, and the community of theater is also hugely prevalent in this film, where you can tell that there's such a camaraderie in the theater industry, especially here in Toronto. So I think that was something I wanted to show. I mean, it is a comedy, but we play with a lot of themes of theater magic and the intangible experience that you have when you go to see theater, and the kind of careers that can be made and ruined in one night, and just that exciting energy that's on stage. But for me, I've been performing on stage since I was really young, and I really don't think of it any differently as being on camera or writing. It's all kind of comes from the same place, if that makes sense. Okay, so this is the thing. I was 7 years old. My mother took me to the Hal Prince revival of Showboat. In the second act, Lynette McKee comes on stage and she sings the 11 o'clock number, Bill. And I was 7 years old. I'd never seen anything before. And I had all the symptoms of a full-on panic attack. I saw her sing, and all my hair started sticking on end. I broke into a hot sweat. I started shaking, all my tunnel vision towards this woman, and my mom's looking at me going, what is wrong with her? Because I swear I was concentrating on her so much. I could hear her heartbeat. And I went home, and my mom thought that I hated the show because I was so solemn and serious. And I went upstairs to my room, and I just started bawling my eyes out. I just started crying. My mom comes in, and she's like, Kelly, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? And I'm like, you don't understand. You don't understand. It should be me up there. And she goes, oh, but Kelly, you're not black. Because the character was black. Anyway, but I said, no, you don't understand, you don't understand, you'll never understand. And I was so scared and sad in that moment, and excited, but I think at even a young age I realized that how much I wanted something, and how difficult it was to have a career in the arts. And knowing that in some ways I'd estranged myself from the people around me because no one was going to understand the crazy life choices I was going to make, moving to Harlem and having 7 part-time jobs. And I knew even that young age that this was something that I had to tell stories, and whether or not it was through writing and through on-camera acting or musical theater or opera, like all these things that I delve into, I just needed to tell these stories. And at such a young age I just felt such anxiety about not being able to do it, and I still feel that anxiety. I still feel, and I still cry. I still have so much to give and to tell, and I'm just obsessed with making stuff, I guess. And I don't sleep that much, and I don't take holidays. But yeah, I think it's just an obsession and an interest and a need to get the stories out of my head, and the fear that I won't have enough time to do it. So yeah, it doesn't matter. And my favorite medium of performance is whatever is the most opposite to what I've just done. So after this film is finished, I'm gonna want to do a very serious, like, opera of some sort, where I stand very stoic and my shoulders back and I'm very pretentious, as opposed to this like rip-roar comedy scene that I'm about to enter into. I always split between being really positive and also very, I would recommend, if there, and I have heard this one before, but if there is anything else that you think you could dedicate your life to, and you'd like to, and it would make you just as happy as this, you should probably do it. Because this industry, as much as I have a fire and I'm excited about it, it is so hard. It is so hard, and it's grueling, and the amount of rejection you get, and the amount of times I've gone without eating, and friendships that have been tested. It's just, it's a really hard industry. It's so hard. It's as hard as anyone imagines it to be, and worse. But I would say, don't ask permission. Don't ask for, and be prepared to live with your own worthiness, and that's all you, and that's it. Just to not have the things that maybe your friends who went to do their masters in law or that they're gonna have. You're not gonna have worldly possessions, and you need to kind of get over that. You need to be able to be a traveling caravan of art and creativity, and just be okay with that. Be okay with relationships ending. Be okay with not seeing your family. I mean, it's a sacrifice, but work on how much you love yourself and how much you are. I don't know. I'm just saying that stuff now. I don't know. Just work hard. The War and Peace Notice says the only thing that you can control is how hard you work, and I really take that a lot. And it's the only thing you can control. There's always someone who's going to be prettier than you, have a better resume, a better headshot, better resume. I already said that. Is trained at a bigger school, has more credits, knows more important people. But the only thing you can control is how hard you work. And I get up at 5 in the morning and work my butt off. So yeah, that's what I would say. And if there's anything else that makes you happy, do that, because it's hard.